Hi and welcome to Summerween! As you guys know, this is one of my favorite readathons that I'm very excited to participate in. If you don't know, Summerween is a readathon hosted by Gabby Reads, all about reading spooky books in the summer, aka bringing Halloween into the summer. You get it? They also have a winter version, which I also always participate in. I'll leave Gabby's announcement video for this round in the description, as well as this year's Winterween vlog, so you kind of know the vibes. And yeah, let's get started. I have just woken up, so excuse me being a mess, but I'm just so excited about this readathon that I just immediately had to get started on this vlog. Also, this is a pimple, ignore that. It's bothering me as well. Anyway. Summerween does have reading prompts. Here they are. They're kind of the same as always, so I think we're good. And then this is my TBR for it. It is a bit ambitious because I have quite a lot of books that I just really want to read right now. So there's a lot of options for me to read, but that's just because I'm way too excited, which is generally the correct term because I'm way too excited. Because I have not read a single page in July just yet. If you don't know, we here where I live have just been coming a little bit out of a heat wave, and my brain was melted for like the first part of July, like the days that have passed, just melted, complete brain melt. So I just did not read. And like, to be fair, I also like spent all of June on the edge of a reading slump, and that definitely also didn't help with the fact that it was so hot out as well. Like, I feel like I could have pushed through it a little bit if I was just in a better reading mood, but I don't know, something about this readathon just has me so incredibly hyped to read. So I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna read a lot more in July, I promise. And doing this readathon because I really want to. I have to say, it's day one. I do have 2 videos to film and edit, and the last episode of Taskmaster to watch, so that's all gonna happen today in some way or another. But I am also gonna read. I want to start off with We Won't All Survive by Kate Alice Marshall. This is a Yali Gafanaga is coming out later in the month, but I've heard so many great things about this author. I do have to say I heard mixed things about their YA works and great things about their adult stuff. Well, this is a YA book, but I'm still very excited to check it out and give it a read. I'll tell you more what it's about once I've actually started it, but that's what I'm gonna do right the fuck now, and also turn the fan back on because it's hot in here. Hi, I apologize for any background noise, but for this update we have the fan on because it's hot. I don't know what else to say. But it is the afternoon now. I'm about to start filming my 2 videos that I have to film and edit today. So I thought I'd give you an update because I did read all morning and I got 52% of the way through We Won't All Survive by Kate Alice Marshall. Like I said before, this is a YA. It's a thriller following our main character Mercy, who 2 years ago went through like a mall shooting, and she's kind of seen as a hero because of her actions doing that, but she has always harbored like a bit of guilt surrounding certain things around that, and now she has gotten the offer to go on this reality TV show, like this survival type show, and the winner gets like shitload of money. And considering like she drained her family's like money accounts with like her medical bills, she desperately wants to win this so that she has the money to send her little sister off to college. And as a group arrives at like the location for this TV show, they very quickly realize that something is amiss, but you know what, they kind of go along with it until one of them winds up dead and shit gets out of hand. And yeah, like I said, I'm 52% of the way through, so I'm reading this so quickly. Like, this has been such a quick read. I've been flying through it, and honestly I'm having a good time. It reminds me a lot of Heights by Kirsten White, except I'm liking this more. I am just having a really fun time with this. It is lacking a bit of depth in my opinion, especially considering it is trying to talk a lot about trauma. I feel like it doesn't always have the depth necessary for that, but besides that, I think this is just like a really quick read. It is very enjoyable as well, so perfect for me to start this readathon off with. And yeah, I'm a big fan already. But like I said, I have 2 videos to film and edit now, so I'll be not reading for a little bit. But I am hoping to maybe finish this today, because just how quickly I'm reading this, I think it's possible, but we'll have to see. I know it's dark, leave me alone. I have had a lazy day. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of ashamed of myself. I was really in the reading zone. In fact, I started off actually reading quite a lot this morning, but I fell off and I got lazy and I spent most of my day on TikTok. I apologize, but that's real life. That's the vlogging life. Anyway, I did last night finish We Will Not Survive by Kate Ellis Marshall, like I was hoping I would. I just did a video about it last night because I was way too tired when I finished, like I immediately went to sleep afterwards. But this ended up being a 4-star. I really enjoyed this. I do definitely still think that Hyde by Kristen White is like a comp title, which is weird because I feel like Hyde was an adult, like horror, like was it thriller horror? I don't remember, but it was an adult novel that was criticized often for reading too young, and I do feel like this, it still reads as YA, but it definitely reads a bit old, on like the older side. Like if this was classified as adult, I'm sure almost no one would have a problem with it. But yeah, I ended up really liking our cast of characters. I just flew through this, I read this so quickly, and I had a lot of fun while reading it. I thought just kind of like the survival element to it was really fun, and it kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. And I don't know, I had a good time. Like I do say, considering this book is heavily focused on kind of like trauma, I do think it could have gone in depth a bit more about stuff like that. But overall, I thought this was a really great read, and that's kind of all I have to say about it. And then this morning I first got started on the Shivers collection, which is a collection of 5 novellas by 5 different horror authors, because they're all horror books, and that would be fun to read a short story a day. There's 5 short stories in this. Before you ask, why didn't you read one yesterday? Because there's more than 5 days in this readathon, so I'm fine. But I read the first story in this morning, which is Jackknife by Joe Hill. I'm giving this 3 stars, this first story. I really liked kind of when we focused on the horror element in this, which is focused around the sycamore tree. I thought kind of like the lore and everything surrounding that was really good. It also was very atmospheric when we're talking about those things. However, the main character was insufferable. I hated him so much. He was such a misogynist, and I wanted to strangle him. And I also do think the ending felt a bit too abrupt for me. So yeah, it's a 3-star where it's kind of like fine, because there's things I really hated but also things I really loved about this. But I am very curious to continue on with the rest of the stories. The next one is by Stephen Graham Jones. She'll be my read for tomorrow, but I've heard a lot of great things about that author, but I haven't read anything by that author yet, so I'm very excited to get around to reading that. By the way, I forgot to talk to you about for what challenge we want all survivors. That is for the read a book with the sky on the cover, because like it isn't the most clear sky on the cover, but it does have like clouds and everything. It's like it's a sky, and that's also why I wanted to read it first, because I felt like that was the most specific prompt. So I wanted to like definitely get that out of the way. And of course, the Shivers collection is to read a novella, manga, or listen to a spooky audiobook. It's for that, which I technically already achieved because I read a novella. The fact that there's 4 more in this collection doesn't negate the fact that I read a novella, so I'm actually gonna mark that as a challenge finished, no matter what already. And then, because I was like on such a roll after finishing that short story, I also decided to start my next read, and I decided to go for The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. This will go for the challenge of a book that's been on my TBR for a year. Like technically it is a book you've owned for a year, but I don't really have any books on my physical TBR that fit to readathon really, besides my Agatha Christie books, but you know I'm saving that for a video. So I don't have a book that I've owned for over a year that fits the vibe for this readathon. So I decided to go with The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose, which is like I got from NetGalley like way before this came out even, and I just never got around to it because when I requested it, I stupidly didn't realize that this was a sequel to The Maid. I knew it was by the same author, but for some reason I didn't connect the fact that this was a sequel, following kind of like the same characters and everything. And I just recently read The Maid. I thought it was fine. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I was intrigued enough to kind of continue on with the sequel, which thank God, because I had it from NetGalley. So I thought it was perfect for this prompt, because I have had it in my TBR for over a year, definitely, easily. So There you go. And honestly, I am 25% of the way through, which is a quarter, and I am really enjoying it so far, which is such a surprise. I feel like at some point in between writing The Maid and this book, Nina Post consulted a neurodivergent person, and therefore Molly actually reads like a person instead of a character. There are definitely still like eccentricities about her, which makes sense with like the way she was raised as well. And I didn't really hate those eccentricities, so I'm really liking it now that she reads more like an actual person. I'm really liking it, and she still reads neurodivergent, so it's not like the fact that that's an element that got taken out of a character, because it did not. It just feels more realistic now. So I enjoyed that. And so far the setup for the mystery is quite interesting. If you this book takes place like 3 years after the first novel, as a famous author comes to the hotel to make like a big announcement thing. He ends up dying right in the room as the announcement is supposed to happen. He drops dead right before you could say what his announcement was. And yeah, it's Molly tags along to solve the murder of this guy. And I don't know, I really like the way it's set up. There is also an implied connection between Molly and this author, and therefore we also have some flashbacks to the time her grandmother was still alive. And I'm really enjoying that as well, because it kind of shows more of the dynamic between Molly and her gran, because that's a huge part of her character is her love for her gran, and how her grandmother was like the only person in her life basically for so long. But I feel like in the first book, you know, we don't get to see that connection. We get told about it, but we don't really get to see that much of it. So the fact that we have quite a lot of flashbacks in this book so far, I really like it, because we get to see that connection more, and I'm starting to feel for her more. So in that sense, I do like it. I do have to say too, of the side characters from book one are gone, just doing other stuff, not necessarily like gone. And I don't know how to feel about it, because I really like the cast of side characters. I'm excited to see them again. So the fact that I'm only seeing one of them again is a little bit, but we'll see how things go, because we also have already had some new characters introduced. So yeah, I am really enjoying this, which I wasn't expecting, but I'm very glad is the case. And yeah, I'll just go and continue reading that book, and then I'll see you tomorrow. I have to say, tomorrow I am going out for most of the day with my family, so I don't know how much reading I'll get on tomorrow. I hope I'll at least get enough time set out to read the novella for the day. But if not, I technically have some wiggle room, so sure will be fine. But yeah, that's the plan. Anyway, I am probably gonna read The Mystery Guest until I fall asleep. And then I don't know how far I'll be in. I don't think I could finish it today realistically, because it's already pretty late. Okay, it's almost 9 p.m. So it's not really realistic for me to read the entire book, especially because I can't stay up too late, considering I have to wake up like relatively early tomorrow. So I don't know. We'll see. Hi, it's 11:30 p.m. I should be going to sleep, which I am gonna do after I update you, but I just needed to update you because against all odds, I finished the mystery guest by Nina Pros. Really wasn't expecting this, but I gave it a 4 star. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, not really what I was expecting. I mean, after the last update, I was hoping to like it, but like before I started the book, I never would have guessed it to be a 4 star. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was delightful, had a fun time. The mystery was very compelling. I had some good twists, had some great reveals. I loved the elements of the flashbacks. It really got that connection with Molly's grandma. I really like Molly in this book. Shocker. I don't know. Like I said before, I feel like she reads more like a real person is. I also really liked the new characters that were introduced in this. At first, it was a bit sad that we were missing some characters from the first book, but honestly, I also really liked the new ones we got introduced to, so I'm not complaining. It's just not a 5, because I do feel like still logic-wise, there's sometimes it's missing a few steps. I'm like, okay, how do you get from A to B? I don't get that. That's an issue also I had with The Maid. That was like one of my smaller issues. But with this, that's still amazing. It's like a major issue with this one, because I don't have that much to complain about comparatively. And also, the twist in the epilogue, like the reveal in the epilogue, does not make sense. Same way with The Maid, it also had a reveal in the epilogue. And I was like, that does not make sense. That's the same case with this one, except this one was less egregious, I guess. But yeah, I had fun. It's a 4 star. That's all that matters. I'll actually see you tomorrow now, because I need sleep. Part of me is like on a reading high, I wants to keep going, but like that's irresponsible of me, so I won't be doing that. But I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Hello. I just got back from the library. It is day 4 of summerween. We're halfway. After today, we're halfway through. I went to the library, picked up a milkshake on the way back. I don't know. It's the season. And before I update you on anything, I thought I'd just show you what I got from the library. I have 2 books. I have the Glasgow by Kathleen Glasgow, which I've read one other Kathleen Glasgow book and I really enjoyed it, and ever since then, enjoyed it. Like, she writes very hard-hitting YA contemporary books, but I really like the book that I read from her. And ever since then, I've been meaning to read all of her other books, and I have never gotten around to it. This is her recent release, like recent, I believe it came out last year, but the Dutch version just came out. So yeah, and it's about drinking. That's all I know. And then I also have The Agency for Scandal by Laura Wood. I haven't seen anything from this from like English speaking reviewers. I have seen this a lot on like Dutch bookstagram, because I follow a lot of Dutch bookstagrammers, like Dutch and Flemish ones, and they were raving about this series a little while back, and my library just got the first book in, so I'm very excited to check it out. I might read it during this readathon though, because it's like a romantic suspense one, I believe. Oh, it's historical. So it has a duke. So yeah, this seems like an historical romance with like a mystery element to it, and I am very intrigued by that. This is white though, I believe. So there you go. These spines are also absolutely stunning. I had to show you that. But I'm very curious to check that out. I also have the next Kami comic, which I need to read. A new one has come out since this one. Just recently a new one came out. I'm behind, I know, but like the rates on these have been for so long, but I got a new one. As I've been doing recently, I got a lot of Peekaboo comics. I haven't been talking about this on my channel a lot, but if you follow me on TikTok, I do a library haul on there every month. And there I've been talking about falling back in love with comics, and mainly Peekaboo. This is what I read a lot as a kid. So I don't know, these have been fun, like bite-sized reads in between like the bigger books, and this is the reason why I didn't fall on a reading slump in June. I feel like I said this in my wrap up, I felt on the edge of a reading slump the entire month of June, and I just barely didn't fall into them, and I'm blaming these for it, because honestly reading one of these every so often during the month just like kept my momentum going a bit and kept my excitement about reading going. So I have a whole bunch. I'm just gonna show up the covers in case you want to know. I have some old ones and I have some new ones. This is a bind up of 2, but I don't know, this is not a bind up. I don't know if this is actually interesting to people. This is with the new artists, which I don't know if you're not Flemish, you don't care about this, but with the new artists, the old artists retired, and the new artists, these have been controversial, but I read one of them last month and I actually quite like it. It's a very different vibe, so I get why they've been controversial, but I really liked it, so I have more of those as well, just because I thought it was fun. And there you go. Those are the comics I have for this month. And yeah, that's my library haul. And then yesterday I didn't update you because I didn't read. Predictably so, actually. I already thought like the only thing I could squeeze in yesterday was a short story. I didn't manage to do that even, because we ended up staying out for way longer than planned. So we got home around like 10 p.m, a little bit later I think. So yeah, it was pretty late. And I was really fucking tired because, you know, it's a whole day out. But I had a really nice day, really fun day. You know, I can't complain about that. But that means I didn't get any reading done, because when I was home I just wanted to go to sleep, so I did that. And then this morning I did read the Stephen Graham Jones story. It's called The Indigo Room. I ended up giving this 2 stars because I got lost in the sauce. Like, this book was this story was so confusing to me, and there were so many different elements to it that were kind of hard to keep track of. Like, so many names just randomly dropped. The writing was also very stream of consciousness, and I don't know, I got lost in it, and the ending confused me a bit. So it's a 2 star for me because I did really like Stephen Graham Jones' writing, and I'm very excited to read one of his books now, because I do think like full length and just having a bit more time to do things, I feel like I would really like that. But just in this story in particular, I was a bit confused throughout most of it. Next story is for Grady Hendrix, so I'm excited about that because that's the only author in this collection that I've read from, so I'm very curious about that. But you know, I had 5 stories. I have 8 days, so it doesn't really matter that I didn't read one yesterday. And then I also started Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This will go in for my read a thriller horror book, because this is an adult thriller book from Holly Jackson's mystery thriller. But in this book, we follow Jet, and the book starts on Halloween, so it's actually perfect for this readathon. And there's like this fair going on in our town, and as she gets home from that, she gets attacked, and then the next day she wakes up in a hospital. and she is like very newly escaped death, but the thing is that she has a really bad skull injury, and basically because of her chronic illness, it basically puts her in danger of dying within like the next week or so. But she can also get this surgery, but like the chances of her surviving is like less than 10%. So what she ends up doing is deciding to not go for the surgery and to take this week and try and solve her own murder. And yeah, that's the book. That's the setup. I haven't really gotten to that much more of it. I'm 19% of the way through right now, and I'm really liking it, which I am very glad to say, because I really enjoyed A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and then the sequel I also quite liked, but then I hated the third book, and then I also really didn't like Five Survive of or the reappearance of Rachel Price. So this was kind of like my last go with Holly Jackson, and so far I am really liking it. I think Chad is a really fun character to follow. The situation is very unique and I like that, and I also just so far kind of like the way the mystery is set up, and I am very excited to keep reading and figure out who did it, you know. I don't know, it could still go downhill, but right now I am really liking it. So this is gonna be my read for today, and yeah, I'm kind of hoping to finish a book a day. I don't know if that's possible, but that's my goal. So by then, like, if you saw my TBR, I have 8 books in there, which is honestly, to be fair, was a stretch goal, but a part of me kind of wants to do it. So I'm gonna try and finish all 8, but we'll see. Because especially tomorrow, we're going out again. And me and my mom are going shopping, but it should be like a smaller trip. But that's what we're doing tomorrow. But it shouldn't be too long of a trip because we're both kind of like not really in the mood to go out for very long after yesterday. So hopefully I'll be able to also read a lot tomorrow. But first, I still have most of today left, so I'm gonna read a bunch. I'm first gonna clean up these books, finish my milkshake, and then I will see you later. Welcome to another late night update. It is 11:40 actually. I finished my book, not quite that yet, at around 11:15, like a quarter past, but I needed time to process. It ended up being a 5-star, which I never would have seen coming, even if I was enjoying it when I last talked to you. This was part of me just wants to talk about the ending, but I can't because it's spoilery. But that, yeah, that made me cry. It really did. I really like this book. I mentioned before that I really liked our main character. I thought she was really fun to follow. It is told in third person, but we mainly follow her. And I thought she was a great character to follow. I thought the whole setup was very interesting. The mystery was very intriguing throughout, and definitely also just had kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. I was so invested in who did it and like trying to figure out who did it, like solve the murder. It was the way it was written with so many different twists and turns, and kind of people keeping secrets and then being like, oh shit, that's this other thing actually, but somehow everything like ties in together, and it's done in a way that's just so really well done. And I genuinely at a certain point at this book just like sat up and like fully gasped. Like, I'm really hoping I didn't wake my mom for that, because that was a pretty loud gasp. That was just me shocked. To be fair, the main reveal I did figure out, but only like a little bit before the characters did. So I feel like that's a part of course. I really like the characters. I feel like this book and was a bit of a love letter to living in a way, considering the entire book. Our main character is obviously about to die, but also talks a lot about grief and death. But overall, it just kind of feels like a celebration of life. Like, she makes the most out of this last week besides just solving her own murder. And I don't know. It had such an impact on me, and I was not expecting it to. And like I said, the end definitely made me absolutely cry. So there's that. 5 stars. I truly never would have predicted that for this book, but I'm so glad it ended up being that way. Hi, good morning. Excuse my hair. As I said, good morning. I just woke up, and it's another day of summerween. How are you doing? Last update. After I finished talking to you, my mind was still reeling so much. Like, I was so hyped after finishing Not Quite Dead Yet that I didn't immediately go to sleep. I got started on The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is my book to read in the dark. So perfect. And I got like 45 pages into this before I actually did get too tired to continue reading. But this is a YA like mystery thriller book. I actually don't know properly the genre of it. I'm sorry, but it is in that vibe. And it follows Cassie, whose mom used to be like one of those scam fortune tellers. So she always taught her daughter how to read people, and now she's like a natural at it, like she automatically does it. And at the start of this novel, she gets recruited to work in like an FBI group of like these teenagers that all have like these special skills, I guess, to help solve cold cases. And she agrees to do it, one because it's a great opportunity, but two because her mom's murder is actually also a cold case, and she's hoping that through this way it might get solved. And yeah, I got 45 pages into this, so not too far, but I did have the basic setup and I'm enjoying it so far. So there you go. But I'm very excited to keep reading this one. And then we skipped another day. And I was gonna say because yesterday I didn't read, but that's not true, because I woke up and I immediately read my next short story, which is The Blanks by Grady Hendrix. And this one I gave 5 stars to. I really like this one. And it's not just because I've read from Grady Hendrix before, by the way, because at first I had no clue where this is going, but ultimately I really liked it. It had a very summery atmosphere, and I really liked how that was just like translated to the book. And then on top of that, I thought the blanks, which are like these creatures, are absolutely terrifying. Like we get so little of them, but Grady Hendrix manages to make them really scary. And on top of that, our main character is kind of like the person of like nothing's wrong, and kind of like glamorizing this whole time and like this summer vacation. Like all the people in this island do actually are like, we're just lucky blessed people to be in this wonderful place, and kind of ignoring the blanks, literally like to being the bad guys. And I think that element to it made the blanks so much more scary to me, and made this whole book actually give me the shivers, hence the name of the collection. I think that was, it really brought in that, and really I don't know, I felt not on the edge of my seat the entire time, because it's not the right word for it, but I kind of felt tense the entire time. That is the right word for it. So definitely a 5-star story for me. And then yesterday it didn't go according to plan. So I did read that in the morning, and then around noon we went shopping, and that went great, by the way. This is a new pajama top that I got. I love it. And then after we went shopping, we had dinner at home, and then it was an evening market in our town yesterday as well, and we were planning to go to it, but typically if my mom and I go, we just like a quick rounds, and then we stop at a few stalls depending on like what we want, but like it's relatively quick. But my mom had the wonderful idea to text our family group chat. It's like, hey, anyone else going? And everyone was like, yeah. So it ended up being a family outing, which meant it lasted way longer. And then once we did like the little tour, which again lasted way longer, and then I'm going for drinks as well. So again, I was home after 10 p.m. for like the second day this week, which was absolutely not on the dock. So I was exhausted when I got home. And then, dude, I also yesterday actually, I read the novella, and then I started editing this vlog because it's really long. And just, I wanted to get a head start on it, and then I finished that this morning because I didn't get around to finishing it yesterday. So I've done that. Like I said, this is gonna be a long one, but you know, because you clicked on it. And then I continued reading the naturals while it was exporting. And honestly, if you're thinking, but girl, you're not in the dark, that's true. I'm kind of like, I'm fibbing it a little bit, because this is how I typically read my ebooks. On sepia, not on white, because that like hurts my eyes. But better on sepia. But I could also put it on night or dark modes, and I'm reading the book in the dark. Because today we really gotta get cracking. If I wanna finish a book a day, like if I wanna finish my entire TBR, I lost basically 2 days. So we gotta get cracking. That's what we're doing. So today's focus is the naturals. I'm gonna switch to reading on my iPad in a minute, because the phone is not going as fast. And then I'm gonna read another short story today. This one is from Catriona Ward, which I was on the Attack read great things about. So I'm very excited for that as well. I'm probably gonna read the short story first, and I'm continuing on with the naturals. I'm gonna crack through that, and hopefully I can finish that like before the evening even, because I have nothing on today, so that should be fine. And then I can start another book before bed as well. That's kind of the plan, but I don't know if that's gonna work out, but it's gonna be a reading marathon type day, so hopefully it will. Alright, so there's gonna be noise because I have my fan on. There's construction going on outside. I apologize, but I just washed my hair and I have some good updates because the reading marathon has been going great so far. It is like 2:30 and you know, just spent a good amount of time washing my hair. Before that, when I finished a video, I immediately went and read the Katrina Ward short story, which is called Night and Day in Misery, I believe. I ended up giving this 3 stars. I didn't like it. This is a story very much focused on grief, and was super sad. Like, it's so sad, and I definitely think it was well written, but just something about it never really hit home to me. I don't know what it is. I just never really found a full connection with it. That's why I gave it a 3 star. Plus, I also didn't really think this was horror. And considering these are all supposed to be horror short stories, I don't know, that also felt like a bit of a letdown. But overall, like I said, I did think this was really well written, and it was very sad. It just didn't, you know, I cry very easily, and I didn't even like tear up a little. So I feel like missed a mark for me on that front a little bit. But there you go. I only have 1 story left for this collection though, but that's for tomorrow. I also accidentally completely finished The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I originally was planning on getting like halfway through it about, and then washing my hair, and then like updating you, finishing the book. So you'd have no like more of my thoughts in between the book. But then this book pulled me in. I don't know what happened, but I just inhale read it, and it's a 4 star. It just barely misses the 5 star mark for me, just because I think the ending is a bit clunky. But for the rest, I was really pulled in. The beginning is a bit slower as we get introduced to kind of like the different naturals, like the other people on our team, and just kind of like having like teaching her stuff about like crime scene investigations and stuff like that. And then once the actual mystery kicks in, this is just, it gets so good. Like, I completely fell into it. It was so compelling. I honestly felt so anxious while the entire thing was going on. There's also kind of like a couple of like little snippets and like second POV in it that's kind of like from the Unsub's like mind, I guess, a little bit. And those parts at times disgusted me. Like, I can't believe this is YA because this got far, but like the darkness of it. And yeah, I don't know, I was really into it. And like I said, I do think the ending was a bit clunky. I just feel like the reveal came a little bit too much out of nowhere, which, I mean, that makes sense a little bit, but I do feel like it was so explained. And really, that's why it felt so clunky, because we had to have so much info dropped, because I feel like there weren't enough nuggets throughout the rest of the book to fully, you know, typically you don't need a whole like massive monologue at the end on why someone is a bad guy, because if you were paying attention throughout the book, like, everything makes sense. This had like a massive monologue about why someone is a bad guy, so I feel like that made it feel a little bit clunky, which is why it kept from being a 5 star for me. But this was honestly so good, and like such a page turner, like literally definition of a page turner. I wanted to keep reading so much. So there's that. I will be continuing along with the series. Something that's funny though is I really enjoyed the Inheritance Game trilogy by this author as well, and this book has a love triangle in it that has a very similar dynamic to the love triangle in that series. I mean, in that book the 2 guys are siblings. Here they're not, but the dynamic between them is so similar. Like, it's so obvious that Jennifer Lynn Barnes has a type, I would say. But anyway, that's my thoughts on The Naturals. Honestly, I'm straying off my TBR. At this point, I have fulfilled all of the challenges, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. But this book has just been smiling at me. I have been, like, especially, I think it's because it's also such like eye-catching spine, but I have been staring at this the entire time, and I'm very excited to read it. So this is gonna be my next read, which means I won't be getting to 1 book of my TBR, most likely probably 2 if I'm being realistic, but like at least 1 I'm not getting to. But according to Storygraph, this is a fast-paced book, so I'm hoping that I'll fly through this easily, and then I have 2 books finished for today, which would be a real accomplishment. So, but mostly I just really want to enjoy it. I'm also kind of in an historical mood, so I think this is gonna be fun. Hello, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of neglected reading a little bit this evening. I apologize, but I am 197 pages into the agency for Scandal, which is quite a chunk. I have like 120 pages left, a little less, and yeah, I'm kind of feeling fine about this. I think this might be 3 stars just with the way things are going now. But in this book, we follow Izzy, who is great at keeping secrets, hence why she's doing this on the cover. And one of her secrets is that she has been in love with this duke for like 2 years. And another one of her secrets is that she is working for like this kind of undercover detective agency that basically is like a group of women that are like basically private detectives for women in the society because it's historical. Like if they need proof of their husband like cheating to be able to get a divorce, or if they just need help with the men in their lives, considering the law won't help them out in that fact. These people, well, these detectives will get them proof, they will help them out. And that was the start of this book. This group gets tasked, no, these women get a visit from this maid, basically being like, I am very concerned for the life of like the lady of the house. So they all kind of go investigate, and there's more things going on with this guy who also is like a very big politician in town. So they go into like this big investigation around him, and that ends up involving the Duke that she's been in love with for 2 years. That was a shit explanation, but that's basically the setup for this. But like, this is how far I am into this, and I feel like we've barely moved the plot along. Like, I don't know, not a whole lot has been happening in this. I do really like Izzy, and I like the like little detective group, I guess, their detective agency. I like that aspect to it, but I feel like mystery wise, not a whole lot is happening. Romance wise, I don't know how to feel bad. I don't really like when in historicals like this, we have to explain to the guy why women's rights are needed. You know what I mean? Like, I know in real life you'd probably have to do that a lot, but like, this is fiction, you know? Like, especially if it's gonna be a romance, like, why do we need to educate the love interest that women deserve rights? Like, he's not that bad. I've read more misogynistic women, more misogynistic men in the circles. He's not misogynistic, he's just like very ignorant. But like, I don't know how I feel about like our main characters is like having to explain constantly. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know. There's also just like hasn't been much progression between them either. So I don't really know how to feel about this book just in general. I feel like very mid about it. So that's that. But too much of the sun has gone down to be able to read with natural light. And I currently have my little like night light, basically like my what's it called? My night lamp. Yeah, that's what I call it. I don't know. But that little light is on, so you can see me. But I don't really like reading using that. And then the big light, it's an added heat source. It's not that hot anymore. And honestly, now in the evenings I've like aired out my room enough that it's kind of like chill to sleep. And that's especially why I don't want it on my light, because it's a heat source. And I don't need it in my life. So I'm not turning it on. Therefore, I am putting this book down for tonight. I will on my iPad pick up another book and start that. I don't know what yet. I have a couple of options. I technically still have 3 books on my TBR, so it's probably gonna be one of those. Hi, it's the end of summerween at this point because it's the last day and it's like almost midnight. I'm sorry, but what happened is that after I last updated you, literally as I shut up the camera, Dan and Phil uploaded their second date everything video. So I had to watch that, and then after that I was too tired to read anything, so I didn't read anything. Then the next morning I read my final story in the Shivers collection, which was The Letter Slot, I believe it's called, by Owen King. Really didn't like this one. I give this a 1 star. I thought this was so boring. Like, almost nothing happened in this, and then once I felt like we were getting into something that was gonna lead to action, it just stopped. I don't know what the point of this was. So 1 star, sadly enough, to wrap things up. But then for the Shivers collection, I combined all my ratings, got an average of it, and that's a 2.8, which is actually low. I really enjoyed this collection, but like a 2.8 is pretty low. I wanted it up to a 3 star on Goodreads and on Storygraph, but a 2.8 is a bit lower than what I thought, because I honestly had a good time reading these short stories. It's like in general, and like reading one every day was fun. So I don't know how that ended up with such a low average rating, probably that 1 star at the end, but there you go. And then here's the thing, I'm not gonna lie, because I've had like very social days and 2 days in which I was not able to read anything because I was just constantly doing stuff, I throughout the rest of the week kind of felt guilty any second I wasn't reading, which put me way behind on things, but also put me in a bit of a weird spot, yesterday where I just, after finishing that novella, I really wanted to get started on something else, but I just felt the burnout so bad. So I didn't do anything yesterday. Like, I didn't do anything. I didn't even do any of the things that I've fallen behind on. I just sat in bed and watched TikTok. That's literally all I did. Watch a couple of YouTube videos as well. But like, that's it. And then today I did all the things that I was supposed to do. Yesterday I filmed my 2 videos, I edited them. I also got some other work done, so that's great. I spent some time with some other hobbies. I journaled a lot today, which was really fun. And then because I kind of took a chill day, I kind of ended up speed reading the ending of this book before the end of the day. Like, I had to cram this in. But I am giving this a 3 stars, sadly enough, because I did enjoy this book. I really like the cast of characters. Like, this whole agency is so full of like side characters that are really fun. But I also really like the main character, like the love interest. I thought their relationship was like cute. It wasn't like super in-depthly developed because it's not the main focus of the book, but I really thought they were cute together, and I was rooting for them to get together by the end of this. And the storyline was very interesting, and I really liked the way that was done. But despite me liking every single element of this, I just feel kind of mad about it. I will be continuing on with the series because the other, like, at least there was like a little like blurb for the second book in the series in the back, and that sounds like a fun time as well. So I do think I will be checking that out. But this was a fine enough read. I don't really have many opinions on it. I don't know if this one is gonna stick in my brain very much, but I do think this was like a fun, like more mystery leading book, because it isn't, I don't know if I would classify it as like a mystery, just like mystery heist stuff going on in this book. It's historical, it's fun, it was a bit of a change of pace, so I'm glad I did get around to reading this. But yeah, there we go. That's my entire summerween experience this year. I managed to complete all of the prompts, so that's great. I also read 5 books, which is also great. Like, I don't know why my delusional brain thought 8 was ever possible. It took me way too long to realize that was never possible. But I'm really happy with 5 though, especially considering there's 2 days in which I was not able to read anything at all because I was gone the entire time. So I would consider like 5 books amazing, especially because I also really liked what I read. I have a 4, 4, 5, a 4, and then technically 2 3s. Wait, that's 6 books. Wait, we will not survive. The Mystery Guest, not quite dead yet. The Naturals, Shivers. I read 6 books! Y'all, I did even better than I thought I did. So glad that that's a thing. Oh my god, how did I not realize I read 6 books? Anyway, that's great. That's even better. No complaints. Especially considering in June, I read 8 books, so that's only 2 more in an entire month. In a week, I read 6 books. That's incredible. I just want to applaud myself for that. That's great. That's technically, if you count out the 2 days that I didn't read anything, that's still a book a day. Damn, I'm a machine. There you go. Anyway, what I was saying, I said 3 4s, a 5, and 2 3s, which I would consider amazing ratings, and I had such a fun time actually participating in this readathon. So there you go. That was my summerween for this year. I'm so sad it's over already. I love this readathon every single time, but it's the end. Let me know in the comments if you participated in summerween, how you did, what was your favorite read of your readathon, and then hopefully I'll see you next time. Here I am again, the same old situation. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated?